You're listening to the Chillin' with the Dogs podcast, where we talk sports, mostly football, and a lot about the Browns. Our episodes drop Friday mornings. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. The more we hear from you guys, the better our podcast can be. All right, now let's get into it. Welcome into Chillin' with the Dogs. This is your host, Justice, and as always, I'm joined here with my pops. We're going to be breaking down the Steelers game. We're actually watching it again right now. This podcast might be a little bit different than the previous ones. We're going to try a little bit of a new formula. We're going to have the game on, rewatching it in the background. Dad's watched it a couple of times. I only got to see it the one time. So we're going to watch it, kind of give some analysis every now and again. We're going to be talking about the overall themes of the game, but also be watching it and give you some individual plays and stuff like that. So right now we just started it. We're on our first drive here, but while it's playing, you want to give me kind of some of your first takes of the game?
My first takes of the game. Okay. Kenny Pickett sucks. They fired their coach.
Yep, Matt Canada.
About time, but I'm glad they waited a week. And then the second one is the defense. You could go on forever about the defense. They're just phenomenal, other than one play.
Yep.
It's like every week we get hit with one freaking play. If they shore that up, they'll set records. Oh, wanted to say Denzel Ward is a freaking stud.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. That hit he put on Najee Harris, loved it.
Yeah. Now, Denzel, like we were both saying, he's the other day, like he's one of my favorite players in the league, period. Has been for a long time, and he's an Ohio State boy.
Yep.
So
and he's from up that way, up around Cleveland.
So it's hard not to root for him, being from Northeast Ohio. But yeah, that defense played a phenomenal game. I think that one long run, you're gonna have, like, with as aggressive as our defense is, you're gonna have stuff like that happen.
Yeah.
But the fact that it doesn't happen that often, I mean, that's a testament to how good they are. How
it does happen often. It happens once a game.
Yeah, if you're giving up 7 points a game, you're solid defense. I know that that's not something you want to see, but I mean, if there's 75 plays and you give up one bad play, I'll give that up for 70 plays that are like top notch. Like I was listening to something last week. I think it was Cleveland Browns Daily, and they were talking about how right now the Browns 55% of the time are hitting the running back behind the line of scrimmage. So first contact, 55% of the time is behind the line of scrimmage, and that's never happened.
Oh, they just showed the...
Yeah, this was a sack. Or this was a safety.
Yeah, every day, all day.
And they even said, like, they went back and said it. I was watching Pro Football Talk with Sims and Florio.
Watch this replay right there.
Yeah. No, it was
it's a full yard in the end zone.
Well, even when you see he first makes contact, the ball is over the line.
Right.
But like almost the entire ball is. They completely missed that in real time. I guess everybody's been talking about Kevin Stefanski through the challenge flag. They just didn't see it.
Right.
I didn't see it either, so I don't know. But everybody's saying that was a safety. Florio and Sims were saying it. But what was I saying? The defense.
Yeah.
With as aggressive as you are there, if you're giving up one bad play for 70 great plays, I'll take it. The defense is being historic right now, hitting the ball carrier behind the line of scrimmage 55% of the time. The closest team to do that, I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was the 2015 Broncos, and they only did it 50% of the time. So...
Well, I heard kind of an interesting stat today that the Browns defense has given up 125 first downs. The next closest team is the Cowboys at 160.
Right. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They have the best third down percentage in the league, which that statistic alone is my favorite, because I just remember for so many years it felt like the Browns could never get off the field. Everybody would always pick up these third downs. Even last year, people were picking up like 3rd and 13s on us. And it's like, dude, just get your ass off the field.
Right.
So the fact that we're leading the league in that now just is so nice. It's that defense is just. I honestly, I could watch us just play defense the entire game and have a
I
ball,
could too.
have a ball.
But that's the kind of football I like. Is what we had this weekend. I like 13-10.
Yeah.
And kind of a nail biter right down to the end.
Well, that's AFC North football. Everybody says that, but it truly is. Like and the cool thing, and I've been listening to a lot of Florio recently because he's starting to like the Browns. So I was listening to him talk, and he's like, that's the kind of football that translates to mid-November. Playing good defense, running the ball well. That's the kind of stuff that when it gets cold, it's it translates.
But we didn't really run the ball well.
But look, like early we did. So I have a theory on that. So early we did run the ball well there. Ford picked up like 15 yards and then 15 yards for the face mask as well.
That was like 7 yards.
No, that was a good run. Rewind it back. I want to say it was 10 plus at least. Because he slips through the hole. I was watching it back on the L22.
So we're at the 25.
He slips through. See?
That's 30. Well, Hunt had the longest play of the day running. It was 16 yards.
Well, you saw
that's 14 yards.
Yeah. So that was a good run.
Yeah.
But we were running the ball well. Running the ball well early. It's just that I think once they realized that we were not going to press the ball downfield at all, like not even like deep shots, but like intermediate routes, we weren't even trying to do that. Once they knew that they just had to keep everything in front of them, I think we took away our own run game by not trying to open up the offense a little bit. We kept it really constricted.
Right.
And I feel like that did the run game no favors. I honestly feel like that made DTR's job harder. Now, as far as his decision making, it made it easier because he was 1 read, 2 reads at most and out.
Yeah, but like you said, it made it harder because now everything's constricted. They're playing zone.
Right.
They're not playing man to man. There's no. I was keeping track during the live broadcast of like how many guys were in the box before the snap.
Early on, they didn't have a lot of guys in the box. I was watching that on the L22. They didn't early on have it, and then you saw second half.
Right. Well, it was even mid-second quarter.
Right.
It got to that point because that's when I started counting. Because it was about the middle of the second quarter. They pretty much started stopping our run, and it's like, well, you remember me saying they're not even doing read steps; they're straight coming.
Yeah.
Because they deepened up, and then they were just coming.
Yep.
There was no, like, we got 5 or 6 guys into block 8 or 9, and it just isn't going to happen.
I'm surprised they overturned that on the field, the touchdown.
Why?
Ford had. I never saw the ball cross. Now, they were saying because of his body position, the ball was in his left hand or whatever, he had to have crossed.
I saw the ball cross.
There
was one shot where you can see the tip of the ball.
Okay.
And it's like that, like 8 inches over the line.
Okay. No,
but we talked about that. The ball carriers, they need to wear white.
Yeah. So with the brown jersey, like in that instance, if you guys watched the game and remember back when Ford had his touchdown, they originally called it not a touchdown. I believe that was on 4th down, wasn't it too?
No, I think it was 3rd down.
Okay.
No, because we were going to go for it.
Right.
The next down.
Right, because DTR was upset. Right. Okay. Yeah. So, anyway, if you remember back, they didn't call it a touchdown. We went back, challenged it, and they ended up calling it a touchdown. But it was really hard to see because we wear the brown jerseys. And so the ball blends in so well. Dad was saying during the game that, the running backs or anybody who's actually touching the ball should wear white sleeves or like orange sleeves to differentiate where the ball in the jersey is. Because it's so hard. It blends in so well with our jerseys.
It does.
And especially when you play in like, say I mean, I guess the Steelers are wearing white, but even with their black helmets and everybody's heads are down where the ball is,
Right.
it just was making it so hard to see where the ball was. But yeah, as far as the run game goes for me, we did not have our best run game. I mean, I think that was actually our worst run game of the season. Normally, we average around 150 yards plus. I think we averaged we got 113 or something.
That play right there, if he doesn't make that tackle, he's still running.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's a drop.
Dude, that's a drop.
He was one-handing and it was out here.
He didn't have to. Watch it again.
No, watch. Yeah, look how far out that is.
It's not. It's right here. Watch.
Yeah, you're right.
Put both hands up and catch the ball.
But I just don't think. So the one thing, let's talk about Njoku a little bit in his game. So we're watching right now. We're watching the drive after the Browns touchdown. After that first touchdown, the offense kind of got a little bit more stagnant. We're in the second quarter now, so we're watching the condensed version, so it's going by a little bit quicker. But the offense, once you got into the middle portion of the game, and even into the late part of the game, felt pretty stagnant. And a lot of that was due to several drops in the game, a lot coming from Njoku. Dad watched it back and said he saw 5. And then the total he saw was, I think, 7, right?
Yeah, 7.
So
I think they even said that on CBD today, too.
Yeah. I mean, you had Amari's drop that ended up being an interception. You had Njoku's drop for a touchdown. So that was a contested catch and hard, but that's a catch he makes.
Hit him on both hands.
Right. You had Elijah Moore try to volleyball swat the ball back. That one was bad. It was like he was trying to stab at it, which Elijah Moore usually has great hands. I don't know what was happening there. What I was saying during the game is when you have a new quarterback that you're taking, you're catching. It's a lot like having a new pitcher when you're a catcher. Like his ball moves differently. The speed, the tempo, how it's released out of the hand is different. So it does take some time to get used to that. I know they're professionals and all that sort of stuff, but it does take some difference. And the thing is Deshaun can pump the ball, but I think DTR has a lot of velocity on his ball. I was listening to something the other day, and they were talking about how DTR and Josh Allen, since Next Gen Stats has been created, have the highest velocity recorded when passing coming out of college. They both threw 62 miles per hour or something like that, which for football is coming. So he's definitely got a cannon. A lot of the drops that I think Njoku had, they were coming in hot.
Well, okay, but we're playing on a condensed field because we're not throwing the ball deep.
Right.
So there's no threat of depth at all.
Right.
Like, so if let's say he takes 5 mile an hour off of his throws and gets it down to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Those are picks. Like, you can't have it both ways.
No, I know.
If you want to run that shitty offense, the ball's gotta come. Like, it's gotta get there. Like, he threw a screen pass to Njoku. I don't know where it's at in the game, but like Highsmith saw it, and the ball, he threw it so freaking hard, Njoku could not catch it.
Right. It was like the ball caught him.
Yeah, it hit him right in the stomach. If he doesn't catch it, like, he had to have. You just have to catch that.
Right.
Highsmith couldn't even swat it because it was coming in so hot. But there was 5 freaking guys there.
Yep.
So, like, I think DTR played great after watching it back. I mean, in the first half here, if you take away the drops, he went 15 of 19. Mm-hmm. That's pretty freaking good.
No, I think DTR had a great game. He was 20 of 40? No, he was 24 of 43. And there were 7 drops, so that would have put him at 31 for 43 if they didn't drop those.
No, I think he was better than that.
You can look it up. I'll look it up for you.
I was gonna say you'll have to look it up. I'm playing the game.
Playing the game, yeah. I think he was 40 or 24 or 43. But you take away those drops, that turns into 31 of 43, and that's a damn good game.
Right.
That's like 75% completion.
Right.
Which I think watching the game too. Even watching the game, I was saying I think he looks good. Watching it back, I think so even more. There was only a couple of plays that I thought he made some poor decisions on his throws, like the one to Amari that he missed him inside. That was a bad, terrible decision and throw. But it wasn't a bad throw; it was just a terrible decision. Other than that, I think he played really clean. The only pick he had wasn't his fault. You know, Amari should have probably caught that, and give him 10 more tries, he probably catches it all 10 times. So I don't know.
Like that throw?
Yeah,
that's the volleyball spike. Yeah. Like that throw is a little high, but I mean, come on.
Well, no, they were talking about on the broadcast, he didn't.
Okay, wait. Watch this in succession. Same receiver. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty damn sure. Volleyball spike.
Yep. And then he goes right back to
Ball's right at his head. I think it's this play. He goes right back to him.
That's what you should do.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Yep. Ball's in the same exact spot.
Yeah.
It's just simple little shit that bugs me.
Oh, did you see that block he tried to throw there?
Mm-hmm.
No, I really dig DTR. I enjoy it. He's a gamer. And like that, Elijah Moore, when I think he misjudged out, I think he jumped and then realized.
Well, they were saying today on CBD that the way the light was coming in the stadium, the way we were going there, like Zagura is like, I think he lost it in the sun.
Well, I was even noticing that during the game. That if you look at that field, it looks like it's bright as hell there. So I don't know how much that had. Like, look at him squinting.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of the drop problem was due to that because our receivers have not really had much of a problem with that this year. They've been pretty sure-handed. There's been spells, but nothing too bad. But during the game, I didn't feel like we really moved the ball much. But watching it back, we had some pretty successful drives moving the ball. It's just we never actually capitalized on them. Like, there's first downs.
Yeah, that's DTR. We moved the ball well. Like, that's a good run.
Yeah.
Like, I was looking at the stats. Like, Jerome Ford had 30 yards.
I think Kareem had just
like 36.
Yeah.
And, like, on this drive, hell, Kareem's rushed for 14 yards already.
Right.
And then he had 16 yards. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, a lot of the second half stuff, we were going backwards a lot because of how the game changed. Like, if we could have kept playing like this, I think it would have been a much different game. But, all right, so we talked a little bit about DTR's play. I kind of want to talk about it a little bit more. I think that this game is huge for him. I was talking to you about this earlier. I think that for some reason, Pittsburgh is the hardest team we play. Like, it doesn't matter how good they are. I think there's something with the Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers rivalry that it's always either we're going to get our asses kicked or it's always going to be close because they always play us tough.
I think that's going to start to.
That might change.
Well, you got to think, man. How long did Ben Roethlisberger play for him? 17 freaking years or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So like for 17 years, he owned our ass.
Right.
He has more wins in our stadium than any quarterback, including our own.
Right.
So like for 20 years, they knew when we go to Cleveland, it's a win. No matter how good they play, it's a win. And I think that's why when we beat him in the playoffs, he was sitting there crying like a little bitch because he's like, well, it's time to retire. That's over.
Right. Yeah, I see there was the drop for the touchdown.
Yep.
I like how he owned it after the game, though. I mean, he didn't shy away from it. And you kind of are seeing that a little bit more. MVS came out and owned the drop for the game winner there.
He had to.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 million people watched it happen.
I know.
That was a good game, too.
But I like the fact that they're holding themselves accountable. Like, I feel like that's a mark of a good team is the Browns are doing that. The Chiefs are holding themselves accountable when they don't perform the way that they're accustomed to. They own it.
Right.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Because there's plenty of people who don't do that. But I
Wasn't
think
me.
DTR played a great game. The stat line may not show it, but given what he was told to do, he went out and executed in my opinion, in a high fashion. So I was impressed by DTR's play. I was impressed with how, gritty the team felt. They faced some adversity there once Jalen Warren had that long touchdown run. They were coming back. They tied it up. And, in prior seasons, the Browns might have folded. And other teams, have let Pittsburgh hang around and then they somehow find a way at the end to come back. The Browns didn't allow that to happen. I think that's a big thing. That shows you that when the going gets tough, the team will continue to fight. And that's something that's very exciting as a Browns fan to see.
That play right there, they ran that 3 times. That pitch play they ran it this way and scored a touchdown. Then they ran it to the left and we shut it down. Then they ran it to the right again. And that's when, who the hell was it? Somebody just crushed his ass.
Yeah. I think it was Taki. Jalen Warren is the only person on that team that worries me. And I think he will continue to worry me for a long time. I think that they found a guy in him, and he was undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of talk has been going on this past week about how the roles need to switch. Najee needs to be the change of pace guy, whereas Warren should be the starter. And I completely agree with that because he's giving them a pop that, Najee right now isn't giving. And
Najee never gave him that.
Right. I think from what I hear, Najee is a great leader in the locker room and everything, and they like having him as the starter because they took him with the first-round pick, and also he embodies what Steelers are supposed to be. They're supposed to be strong and gritty and stuff, and I get that. But when you have a guy out there that's just way outperforming, well, that was Ford then.
Yeah, Ford had. There may have been more than 7. Dude, I like DTR. He is not a big dude though.
No, he is.
He could get freaking.
But he's a gamer though, man. I like him. I think
I love this play.
He's not dude. If that would have been Ford, that would have been a touchdown.
I don't know about that. He'd have missed the hole. He'd have ran out of bounds.
Well, I wish that Kareem could have made it to the edge because there was no one over there. We're talking about the 4th down play where we're kind of deep in our own side, and Harrison Bryant goes up and pitches it out to Kareem. That play, I didn't think they were going to run it. I thought they were
trying to draw him off.
Trying to draw him off or something. I didn't think we'd go for it.
Yeah, I'm like, they're just, oh no, they snapped it.
Yeah, that was a gutsy play call for sure, but it's a divisional game. You got to pull out all the stops.
Did you notice? I didn't notice in the game.
See, look at how bright that is.
Yeah.
And also, too, when you have
the shadow,
it's so hard to tell. That was
a bad pass.
Yeah.
That, honestly, well, he's had a few, but that's, oh, look at that. Like, Amari's like,
yeah.
Is the ball coming? Like, he could have came back to the ball, though, too.
Yeah. That was against the practice squad safety.
That was a bad pass. I can't defend that one. But yeah, so like I watched this thing. This will be the 4th time. But DTR, they're talking today about like we signed Flacco. So of course everybody on all the talking heads are like, okay, he needs to start. He needs to start.
Really? I haven't been hearing that.
Well, that's what everybody on the radio is talking about.
Locally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all like, yep, they signed Flacco. Well, the thing is, how many games do you think it's going to be before he's starting?
Gotcha.
And then they're like, well, he needs to start. DTR's not ready. Well, I didn't see anything in that game where they really were trying to showcase DTR.
No.
So I think they need to open it up a little bit. I know on the radio, Grossi and everybody's like, I love the game plan. Don't put him at risk. Don't put him at risk. Well, I can say that about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Like, don't put that guy at risk. You're going to throw it up, or definitely PJ Walker. And we were pushing the ball deep with PJ Walker. I trust Dorian more than I do him.
Yeah. With how good he throws the ball, there's no reason that you can't take a couple of shots here and there. And do it selectively.
Like, watch this play. This play is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Okay, so we've got the ball back, middle of third. We get a 5-yard pass to Elijah Moore. Next pass is going to Cooper, but watch. That's Adrian Peterson.
That's Patrick Peterson.
Whatever.
Right.
Same guy. They're just as old. Yeah. And, like, he knows he's not going deep.
No, he stopped where he was.
Right. He never moved.
Yep.
And that's impossible. I'm sorry. It just is.
No, that is not going to be sustainable. And it wasn't even sustainable in the game. Once Pittsburgh realized that, the entire flow of the game changed. If they would have played that way the entire game, we probably would have lost. Because we moved the ball so much more effectively before. And then you saw their defense change on the last drive of the game. They started playing a little bit more prevent. And we were able to move the ball again.
Yeah, so I'm going to fast forward to the fourth. To our last drive. Because I think it's important to watch. And this guy, this number 30, I'll hamstring his ass the next time we play him.
Yeah, but he's a menace.
Yeah, on this drive coming up, I think DTR went 4 for 4. But if you look at the passes,
we get the ball at the 14-yard line.
Yep.
With 3 minutes and 29 seconds left. First play, swing out to Kareem for a loss of 3.
4-yard loss. But, like...
And that took, 40 seconds off the clock. And then Kareem runs for...
Hurdle!
He does the big hurdle.
God, he cannot jump.
Well, he just ran for it. So that must have been the 16 yards.
That was the 16 yards, yeah. So... Watch his face here on the replay. He's like, nope, see ya. Not today, homie.
Watching him run so funny.
That pass, that's a hard pass.
Yeah.
And he put it right on the money.
Well, I mean, that's a long pass there.
That's a hard pass.
Yeah. So that was to Njoku for what?
3 yards.
3 yards. 3rd and 7.
Another drop.
Njoku drops it.
So evidently he did. This might not be the last drive.
No, it's not. We punt here.
Okay, my bad. But yeah, so but he hit him right in the hands. Yeah. I mean,
he comes back to him again on that last drive. Yeah, because we get them to punt us in 16 seconds.
Right.
I remember
so
that.
We got a minute 20-ish.
So Prochet gets the return. He returns it to the 35.
Yep.
There's a minute and 18 seconds left. First play, we're in the shotgun.
Now
that's a great pass.
That's a 25-yard pass, 30-yard pass. Dead nuts.
Yep, to Elijah Moore. Right to the 50.
And guess what? Everybody's like, they ain't going to throw deep.
Dorian in the shotgun again. Quick pass out to the running back, Kareem, for a 5-yard gain. He got out of bounds, so the clock stopped at 53 seconds. Slant pass to Njoku.
Right on the money.
He just crossed over to the 37. Njoku again.
Right on the money.
Yep.
Right in between the numbers.
First down. So now we're at the 26. It's a run play to the right, or to the left, sorry, with Kareem. He picked up 3 yards.
That's the second possession he's been in there, and Ford hasn't. I wonder what was going on there.
I think when the going gets tough, they count on Kareem. And then this was a penalty, right?
Yep. This was the delay of game on the defense.
Right. I don't know what that was.
They were laying on Batonio or Teller, and they wouldn't get up.
Okay.
So they called delay of game.
Now we're at the 21. You get a run up the middle with Kareem. He gets a first down.
Which I don't understand. And see, here they're laying on people too.
Yep. And we spike it with 5 seconds left, and then Dustin Hopkins.
But like, all 4 of those passes were right on the numbers.
Yep.
Right on the numbers. And why aren't we pushing the ball downfield? Because he's a rookie?
No, the only thing I can think is the game plan going in there is if you don't turn the ball over at all, you're going to win. They had full faith in the defense that we would hold them to a very low score. They didn't respect the Steelers' offense at all. I truly believe that. I think that they said, okay, we need 15 points to win this game. And if Dustin Hopkins has to kick the ball 5 times, we'll do it. I think, honestly, that's what their game plan going in was just play great defense and not make any mistakes on offense. Now, for me, I don't think that that's something sustainable because when we do play against good offenses, say like the Jags coming up, our defense, I personally believe our defense is going to destroy the Jags, but they might put up 17, 20, 23 points on us. If they do that, then that performance on offense will not work. I think you have to change up your game plan. I think they will do that. I think that was a single game plan for Dorian, get his confidence up, let him know that he can win a professional football game. And going forward, they'll open it up more. Going back to the Joe Flacco thing, I don't think that moves the needle at all. I think Dorian...
I agree with you.
I don't think Joe Flacco makes us a better football team.
Well...
I really don't. Like, I remember watching him play, was it last year or the year before?
The year he beat our ass
he
last year?
He beat our ass. He didn't...
He came back and beat us.
Yeah, he came back and beat us, but I don't think he looked all that great doing so.
Well, no.
We broke down a coverage.
He's 8 million years old.
Yeah.
But I would think I would rather have him than P.J. Walker.
Yeah.
So him as a backup doesn't bother me.
No, not at all.
If Dorian gets hurt, he goes in. I'm going to feel a lot better about winning games with him than I am P.J. Walker.
Yeah, and I think from at least what the Browns brass is saying, that's the plan, is that he's there as our backup for now. I don't think that he was brought... I can't believe that they would bring him in to have him be the starter, especially after you just saw Dorian win against the Steelers, who are a 6-3 team. I think that's the hardest defense Dorian's going to play the rest of the regular season. So I think going forward, he's going to remain the starter, and I think that they're going to give him more opportunities to press the ball downfield as he gets more comfortable.
I hope so, because I can't watch that offense anymore.
Yeah. The defense played amazing. I feel like everybody... we've been saying it for weeks. I feel like everybody contributed to that defensively. There wasn't one person I felt like that really had a bad game on defense. I feel like the secondary is the best secondary in the league. I feel like, people can argue whether or not, the Steelers, the 49ers, the Eagles defensive line is the best, but I think ours is right with anybody. I personally think it's the best, but and our linebackers fly around. I think that defense can carry us a long, long way. And if Dorian does get things going, I think that we're going to be getting right when the playoffs start.
I hope so. Because if we can... Because Kansas City lost last night, so we're a half game out of first place. I'd love to see...
In the conference. We're a half game out, not just in our division, but in the conference.
Right. Yeah, I would love... I mean, we're half game out, and we hold the tiebreaker over the Ravens if we have the same score, because our AFC record's better. And I don't know if theirs is going to get any better. Pull it up, but I'm pretty sure that the Ravens, they got the Chargers, the Rams, Jacksonville, so they play 2, 3, 4 more. Well, they play 4 more AFC teams. Who we play?
How about the fact that your 14-3 is still in play?
Yeah, I told you.
We'd have to win out, but 14-3 is still in play.
Yeah, but with our schedule, it ain't gonna happen. We're gonna lose a game. It'll probably be the Bears.
Probably will.
I mean, they have a running court. Well,
I don't know. Justin Fields might have some flashbacks. Seeing Miles over there.
He might. But, like, I don't know. We play Denver, Rams, Jacksonville, Chicago, Houston, Jets, Cincinnati. Houston scares me. Jacksonville scares me. And Denver scares me.
Yeah.
So we could be 11-6. I mean, I can see that.
That still gets you in the playoffs, though.
Yeah.
And, you know, if the Ravens weren't doing as well, like, that would win most
Yeah, but I'm not going to feel good about it if we lose. Let's say we lose Denver, Jacksonville, and Houston. I'm not going to feel great about our chances in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because we just sat here and said we could go 14-3 because our schedule's weak right now. Well, for the rest of the year. So if we lose 3 games on a weak schedule when we've lost 3 games on the schedule we've played already, like, I'm not going to feel good about that.
Yeah.
So we better win out. Make my 14-3 good.
Well, you got anything else to say for that Steelers game?
No, I hate that I'm going to say this, but it's kind of boring talking about how good the defense is, because if you watch the games, anybody with eyes can see it.
Yeah.
So I know we didn't talk much defense today, but what can you say? I mean,
you just talk about how historic they are.
They're freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, it's the best defense that I've ever watched as a fan of that team. I saw the 85 Bears, but it was in 85. I was 9 years old. I don't remember much of it.
Right.
And I've seen the 2000 Ravens, but it's the best defense that I've seen personally, and especially as my team. Like, I love it.
Ravens was the year-removed Browns.
Now what I want to see is the offense we had with Jacoby last year in this defense, where we averaged 24 points a game.
Right.
Because then, dude, that's unbeatable.
Yep.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I think that this team could. I'll wrap it up here with as far as the Steelers game go. I think that was a great team win. It was gritty. The offense didn't flash or nothing like that, but it did just enough to win. The defense, I enjoy talking about it because, I mean, it's just beautiful.
Well, it's not that I don't enjoy, but I mean,
no, I know you enjoy.
You've said it all. You say the same thing every week,
right?
And it's just kind of boring to listen to.
Yeah. Yep. And so, I guess finishing that up, I think that was probably the hardest game we had. In my mind, that's the hardest game for the Browns because I think the Steelers always play us well. Going forward, I feel very confident in any game we go into. I think the hardest games are behind us with 49ers, Seahawks, Ravens, all of that. So I'm excited to see what they do. I could see us probably finishing with 5-2. I think we might lose 2 more games, and that would put us at 12-5. I think.
I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. That would win most divisions and put you pretty close to the first seed. If the Browns somehow got the first seed and got guaranteed home field advantage, that
first round bye and
sick.
Everything runs through Cleveland.
Yes, that would be amazing.
That would be awesome.
But all right, let's shift gears then. Let's talk a little bit about this Denver game coming up. The Browns, are they out there already? or are they
I don't
staying
think so.
afterwards to go to?
I think after the game they're going to LA.
Okay.
I think.
Because I was hearing talk about them staying out there.
They're going to stay west. I know that.
And I was listening to Florio talk about it, how good that is for the team. And then I heard McCourty talking about it too on Good Morning Football, how important that is for the team. Like you had what was that place they went to in West Virginia?
Greenbrier.
Yeah, that was a big thing for building camaraderie in the team. And they were talking about how if you do that mid-season like that, where everybody's bought in, everybody's willing to go stay somewhere, how impactful that is in the mid-season. McCourty was saying that when he did that with the Patriots, that's what helped propel them towards the Super Bowl run, because everybody, it just shows how bought in the team is. It really builds that brotherhood and everything. So I think that's one of those storylines that may not get talked about a lot, but I feel like it's going to be very, very beneficial to the team. The Denver game kind of scares you a little bit, as you said, because of the elevation. When we talked about that at the beginning of the season.
I'll tell you what scares me right now. Before it was the elevation, but I thought they sucked. And I'm like, oh, that could be a trap game after the Steelers game. High elevation. But I'm going to tell you what scares me now. They've won 4 in a row. In the 4 games they've won, they've beat Buffalo, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Kansas City. They played Kansas City before they played Green Bay, I believe, and they lost 19-8. That's what scares me. Like, what the hell happened?
Everybody's talking about how their defense is coming around.
Russell Wilson was 27 of 35 for a touchdown, 259 yards in their win against Minnesota. They did not control time of possession. I think it was 9 minutes and 20 seconds less time of possession. They had 10 fewer first downs. I think 15 fewer plays ran.
So they're doing some things that the Pittsburgh Steelers did. Not everyone was talking about how the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I don't think Kenny Pickett's ever going to go 27 of 35.
Yeah, that's fair. But, I mean, also, too, Minnesota is world beaters on defense. Chiefs have a good defense.
The Chiefs do have a good defense.
Who else did they beat? Bills. They don't have a bad defense.
The Bills and Green Bay.
Green Bay has a pretty good defense, I guess. I don't know. For me, I don't really worry about that game that much. I mean, we could lose, but I don't think we're going to. I think nothing about Russell Wilson scares me that much. I watched that game, and it seemed like Minnesota was Swiss cheese. Like, there were so many easy 15-yard passes, and Jerry Jeudy was just wide open all the time, or Cortland Sutton was wide open all the time. That's not going to happen with our defense. I feel like I don't remember the KC game or the Buffalo game, but I do remember that late. Was that the late night game on Sunday?
Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah, I watched that. That Minnesota defense does not look like ours. And
there's only 2 defenses that do look like ours.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
3. And we beat one of them Sunday.
What scares me more so is our offense going against their defense, and it really doesn't scare me that much. Because
I don't understand why that is. Like, how did they go from giving up 70? They gave up 70 to freaking Miami, 28 to Chicago, 31 to the Jets. Then they played Kansas City and lost 8-19. And then they started this winning streak. Like, what the hell happened?
I don't know.
Well, I know they got rid of Randy Gregory and another guy.
Yeah. That could be it. Patrick Surtain's been playing pretty well. He's one of the better corners in the league now. Justin Simmons has been getting a lot of interceptions. So they are playing better defense, but I feel like this game we're going to try to out physical them. I think a steady dose of Kareem Hunt would be nice. And
I'll tell you, I want to see Pierre Strong.
Yeah.
I want to see more of him.
I think he had 1 touch.
He had 2.
Okay, well, 2 touches, but one that I remember. I think he would be a nice change of pace. I like all of our running backs.
Well, I don't know if he's fast.
He's incredibly fast.
Well,
he's world-class speed.
Let's see some more of him.
He's like, I think his 40 was 4.35.
So why are we not using him?
I don't know. Because they've invested a 5th-round draft pick into Jerome Ford.
Well, we didn't invest shit into Kareem.
Yeah.
And if that was the case, why was Jerome Ford not on the field the last 2 possessions of the Steeler game? He was not on the field.
I don't know. I like Jerome. I've been liking Jerome Ford more and more, but I would like to see all 3 of them get some work. I think if you're constantly keeping those guys fresh, changing the pace, that definitely helps. There is something to be said. I think Kareem does get better later as the game goes on when the defense gets more tired. None of them are like Nick Chubb where he just consistently builds. I don't think Ford has shown that yet. He might eventually, but it'd be cool to see Pierre Strong get a little bit more work. I'd like to see them go, I think Njoku had 15 targets. I'd like to see that again. And then...
Yeah, if he catches them all, he's got 7,000 yards.
Yeah. I think that will change.
Yeah, Stefanski said, I was listening to an interview they did with him Monday, and someone asked him, hey, Njoku acknowledged his drops, and Stefanski, cut the guy off, and he's like, yeah, he FaceTimed me from home on the jugs machine.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So that's one thing about Njoku that I think he'll get that right.
I do too.
I love that guy. I was that was probably my biggest disappointment of the whole game was that he struggled.
Right.
Because I want to see him just take over games. Be our Myles Garrett on offense. Just beat people up.
Yeah.
He's made for it. I mean, look at him. He's a freaking Greek god.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they went to him twice on that game-ending drive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when they needed
him, both those passes were right at the 8-5, man.
Yep.
That's why I'm saying push the ball a little bit. I'm not saying air it out like Deshaun. But you remember our last podcast, I said, I think DTR will end up with 13 of 19 for 220 yards.
Yep.
That's what I was going. Well, he had that in the first half.
Right.
But, I mean, we couldn't really run the ball after the first quarter, so I kind of get it, but I don't know. I'm not saying we have to complete the passes downfield. I'm just saying run a couple verticals and chuck it. Especially if it's 3rd and 10. Right. Chuck it. If they pick it off, they pick it off. Who gives a shit?
Yep, it's just a punt.
It's just a good, well, I don't know. I think I want Borges kicking it.
True.
But still, I mean, I'll give that up. But I think you're right. I think Stefanski's got to. I mean.
Well, that's what the Chiefs do. I mean, they use Mahomes as a punter sometimes.
Right.
So that's what smart teams do. I think the element of the defense having to realize that is more beneficial.
Right. Well, not only that, I mean, it's not Mahomes throwing the ball, but he can chuck it.
Yes.
So throw it deep. Worst case scenario, it's an interception. Best case scenario, it's a catch touchdown. Middle case scenario, you get a PI.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Rodgers always would do. Right. He'd just chuck it. And 9 times out of 10, they get a PI. Chuck it towards Devontae Adams. Mm-hmm. He's either going to catch it or it's going to be a pass interference or incomplete.
I feel like that's the one thing that Amari's not bad at contested catches, but the one thing we do miss on the team is DPJ. He never got it this year. He didn't really get a lot of chances, but in prior years, he's always been a good contested catch.
So let me ask you this. If you run trips left and put Njoku on, say, the right side and tell him to just run a go, is he going to get double covered?
No.
There you go. The biggest guy on the field. He's as big as a freaking defensive end. Run straight down the field, big guy. I'm chucking it.
Yeah. I mean, that would be
like, there isn't anybody else on our team that's going to be better at contested catches than him, in my opinion, which means nothing. But that's what I would do.
Yeah, what I would do is I'd run trips left, do a flood on that side, and then have him do a go, check there first, see if he beats his man off the line. If he does, that's where you go. If not, you got to flood on the other side and hit someone over the middle.
Well, or just take a shot.
Yeah, you could do that
and
too.
chuck it. I don't care if he beats his man off the line or not. Do you think they're going to run a linebacker out there or safety to cover?
Safety.
I'm good. Chuck it. He's 6'5". Chuck it. I mean, if it gets picked, it gets picked.
Yeah.
But you better lead him.
I'd also like to see them have him up the seam too, because he makes a lot of good catches running up the seam.
Yeah, but I'm just saying to guarantee single coverage.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the whole thing. Is I'm excited to see what Stefanski does going forward, because I think that was a one-off game.
Oh, I'm not. I want to make this perfectly clear. I'm not questioning his game plan in that game. I get it. Everything that you said about it, and that's what they were saying today on the radio too.
I think it's here, yeah.
Yeah, basically that's the game. That was the game plan for the Steelers because they've got those two edge rushers. They didn't want DTR doing something stupid. Right. Okay, I get it. But even at that, put him in shotgun, have him drop back, and throw a deep pass. I'm not asking for a completion. Just the threat alone to lighten up the box a little bit so we can run the ball.
Yep.
Like, I don't know.
Or we can complete some of those short passes, because that was what was stagnating our offense. Was they were not even dropping. They were just sitting at 7 yards and staying there.
Right.
And that you can't do that, because then you put yourself in, like, they were all so worried about him throwing picks. They were putting him in more position to get picks.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Because, yeah, exactly.
Like you have a line of defenders on the line to rush him. Then you have another line of defenders 7 to 10 yards. And then you have another line of defenders. Right. They played well, it wasn't really, but it looked like a prevent defense most of the game. And it was like, okay, if you see anything looks like run, you come. Anything looks like pass, just stay there. And they were hoping to get an interception or right. A catch fumble or something like that. And I get it. That's what I would do too if I was them. But at some point, can't you run a double move?
Right. There was not a single even attempt of that.
Like, run a double move, a pump and go, something. I mean, my God. I
gotta say, like, Stefanski's resolve to not do that was crazy. I was like, he's got to do it eventually, right? He never did. I don't know if that thought just never crossed his mind.
No, I think they went into that, like you said, if we have to kick it 5 times to win, we're going to do it. Yeah. And that's good. Like, if that was the plan, congratulations. Yeah. Like, thank you, Jesus.
Well, not only that, how much, like, that's cool to see he had that much faith in the defense. Like, that's got to gas up the defense a lot, too.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
I don't think they needed it.
No.
But, like, Kevin Stefanski, I've been critical of him. Yeah, I mean, you can remember the first podcast. I'm like, he's my biggest concern. Right. Not Deshaun, not nothing. It's Kevin Stefanski. That is no longer the case. Right. Now, I know he's not going to be perfect. Nobody is. But I'm confident in him now. Like, I'm not willing to say in Kevin Stefanski I trust, but I'm getting there. Like, as long as there's not ridiculously brain-dead stuff that he does, I'm not going to question him. I'm not questioning his play calls anymore, if you've not noticed that.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say is run a fucking streak once in a while with this kid. Right. I mean, we were running them all over the field with every other quarterback we've ever had with Stefanski. And this kid, from what I've seen and through preseason, which granted it's second team, whatever, but still, I mean, he was on the money, on time, most of the time.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you maybe think about throwing in some Austin Watkins. You remember how great their rapport was early? And
I would have done that 6 games ago.
right. I'm just thinking, like, I'm wondering if his rapport with him would do anything. Give him, like, because he already has great rapport with Cedric Tillman. They played growing up together. But I would think you still have, if you have your 1B Amari, 2B Elijah, and 3B Tillman, which they're doing right now, why can't you have Austin Watkins be your 4? Because I think Marquise Goodwin's not playing. Do you know who our 4 is right now?
Marquise Goodwin.
I haven't seen him.
I haven't either.
So I would maybe think about trying Watkins and see if you can get.
Well, he was
cool things with
dressed.
that.
He was dressed in the Ravens game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they're. I don't know. But
I was thinking about that.
I would try everything.
Right.
Like, and I'm sure that. Well, you can only dress so many guys. I get that. And with our tackle situation,
right,
we basically have 5 tackles. Yeah, we basically have 5 tackles dressing every week.
Well, our injuries are definitely making that difficult because now we're gonna have to worry about safety a little bit.
Yep.
We don't really have to worry. I mean, I don't know if we addressed this earlier, but McLeod is done for the season, and Walker injured his hamstring and is week to week. So we have some injuries that popped up this past
Linebacker's not a concern for me. Right. We have plenty. They dress DiBiase or whatever his name, Diabate. They dress him and Fields. So I'm not worried about linebacker. Taki played out of his mind. I thought Taki had a good game, but
is he on a 1-year contract? Didn't he re-sign for 1 year?
I don't know.
That guy, I would love to have him.
Well, honestly, and I'm not a professional football player, but I can't imagine, unless he's just blown away with an offer, why he wouldn't want to come back here.
Yeah.
I mean,
and honestly, I don't know that he will be. I don't know that he's.
He is the 3rd linebacker on our team.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because you got JOK and Walker ahead of him. I think Walker signed a 2-year deal, didn't he? Or was it a 1 year?
I think it was a 1 year. Yeah. I'd love to. I'm hope. We'll get back to Denver here in a second, but I am hopeful that they'll keep this core around defensively because I feel like they just have so much chemistry right now.
Well, they said something today on the radio that kind of worried me. Delpit's coming up.
Yep.
And evidently Cooper's contract's up at the end of the year.
Yep.
So they were saying they're going to have to make some hard choices. They're going to have to pick one or the other. So which one would you pick?
Delpit. I know that would be very difficult for your receiving core because then you'd be relying on Elijah Moore to be your 1 or Cedric Tillman because you don't have DPJ anymore. Marquise Goodwin's on a 1-year deal, so our entire receiver.
See, I think they already said their choice when they got rid of DPJ. Yeah,
you're probably right.
Because you look at our receiving core without Cooper, it's really not that good. I mean, you got your little covey of tight ends, but Njoku's by far the best. Right. And that's it. Like, you got Cooper and Njoku. That's it. I mean, Elijah Moore could come around. And I think he could be good, but he's not a 1 on anybody's team.
Would you have to re-up Cooper, you think, for $20 million, though?
I don't think so.
Do you think he would take a pay cut?
Do you think he's going to get $20 million anywhere else? They're trading these guys like they're nothing. I mean, people are trading them for picks. Right. So, do you think he's going to get an offer of $20 million at his age?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
I mean, I'm thinking you're looking probably 10 to 12 for Cooper.
That would be nice.
Now, I don't know him personally, but I could see him doing that.
Yeah. I would hate to see Delpit go.
You can't lose Delpit. In my opinion, no. Well, it depends. I'm not signing him for $30 million a year.
No, I mean top safeties get $17 million.
Well, what's Juan getting?
Nothing close to that. I think his was $10 million, and that might be.
That sounds like a lot for him.
It might be less than that. It might. I don't know. I'll have to look up that contract, but I feel like Delpit has played his way into. I'm worried about.
He's having a Pro Bowl season right now.
He's having an All-Pro season, in my opinion. He's playing out of his fucking mind. He's playing the best. Like the past couple of years, you've seen flashes. At the end of the season last year, you really saw it. This year, he hasn't let you down, in my opinion.
No, he's all over the place.
He's been amazing. He's been one of the best safeties I've seen in a really, really long time. And I don't know if he's getting that credit nationally or not.
He is.
He is? Good. Because he is playing some incredible football. And I think it's partially due. I think mostly it's due to how Jim Schwartz is used to him.
I'm sure.
He's playing up on the line, and that feels like a great place for him. What I'd be concerned about if I was Delpit going into free agency is, are they going to play me that way? Like, if he goes to a place where he's having to play back, he's not going to be the same player, I don't think. So we'll see. But, so we were talking about Stefanski's play calling and everything. How would you approach the game plan for the Denver game offensively? So I feel like defensively,
I would basically run the same thing, except I would lengthen the field for DTR. Like those little 5-yard stops that we were running, I'd push them 5. And those 15-yard, 10-yard slants, I'd push them. I'd push him downfield. I'm not saying it's going to be Deshaun's offense, but I got to lengthen it out.
Yep.
Because having watched, that's the 4th time I've watched that game. Having watched the game, and I'm no freaking guru when it comes to defense, but when I was in football, I was a defensive lineman at 135 pounds for crying out loud. So,
right.
But I was in some linebacker practices too, and it's like you take a read step for pass, or read step run, or whatever it was, or you take your read step and then you go.
Yep.
Well, they weren't doing that. It was like we've already said it. There was no movement. You had your first line, your second line, your third line. We're not going to beat them like that.
No.
Now, unless the defense scores 2 touchdowns, then maybe I'd go back to that. But I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, Russell Wilson doesn't historically throw a lot of picks. He's pretty conservative. And he can run. So, I don't know. I'll say in Stefanski I trust.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
I'm curious about.
But I think we have to lengthen the field a little bit just to give a threat of down the field. Otherwise, we're going to be in for a long day because we don't have Nick Chubb. We're running, and I think Kareem does build as the game goes. I think if you had Kareem start and actually carry the load, I think by the middle of the 3rd quarter, you would see a big difference in what he can do. But that's just me. Like, I like Ford as a change of pace guy. Like, I watch him miss way too many holes and dance too much. The dancing part's kind of, the last couple games has gone away, thankfully. But I don't know. I just don't think that he's your every down. And that's not what the national guys say. The national guys think he's an every down back, which I guess he is. I mean, he can run and he can catch the ball, but
the Broncos have the worst rush defense in the league, is what I was trying to look up. I think you run the fuck out of the ball this game. You use Kareem Hunt, beat the shit out of them. They also have one of the worst pass defenses in the league. Now the defense has come around over this little 4-game win streak, and they should. They got Patrick Surtain and Justin Simmons, 2 of the best at their position in the league. But I just don't. We talked about how KC's offense isn't what it has been the past couple of years, that their defense has been keeping them in these games, and they definitely did against Philly. Like, you got to watch a lot of that game.
I watched the whole game.
They shut down A.J. Brown, which sucked for me. But their offense isn't nearly what it was. Who else did we say they played? They played the Bills. The Bills obviously haven't been the same team this year. They are still good, though. Who else was in there? Minnesota is playing Dobbs. Dobbs has been playing great for Dobbs football, but I wouldn't go out there and say that he really should scare you too much.
I think they sacked him 5 times.
Yeah.
No, that was the Eagles. Kansas City sacked Jalen Hurts 5 times. No, they only sacked Dobbs twice. Because I watched a chunk of that game.
They were not getting pressure that I saw. I saw Dobbs running around, having all the time in the world. I am not worried about their defense.
Well, if that's the case, we should blow them the hell out.
I know. The only thing really that concerns me more so than anything is the elevation. And I think that's something that you can deal with. I also lived in that elevation for a long time, so I don't know.
I don't know. Everybody who goes there and plays there talks about how hard it is to play there. Because you're like, you feel like you've played a whole game at the end of the first quarter.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
But the nice thing is we've got 3 really good defensive ends, and we've got 4 really good defensive tackles.
And you can honestly say, like, we have more than that because Alex Wright's been playing pretty well this
year. But what I'm saying is I think we only dress so many.
Alex Wright dresses too. But you're right. The top 3 defensive ends we have are stellar, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Broncos having an amazing season.
Yeah.
And then Reese Hurst,
Mo.
What's his name? I keep wanting to say Phil Taylor. It's not Phil Taylor. Dalvin Tomlinson. I mean, we have those defense tackles are. What I like about the Browns defense is that they're all super likable guys.
Yeah, they are.
You can't not like them, and obviously we're Browns fans, so we get to hear their interviews and everything. But man, there's not a single one of those guys.
If there's another guy on our team that looks like a Cleveland Brown other than Dalvin Tomlinson, I'll kiss your ass.
He does. He looks just.
Oh my God!
Just like a Browns player, and that's the coolest thing is it feels like right now the Browns are playing what I've always called Browns football.
Yeah.
Just good defense and playing physical. It makes you so excited. But
another thing, they were talking about Wyatt Teller and Joel Bitonio. They'll have to make a choice there. You're not going to be able to keep both of them.
So who do you keep in that situation?
I don't get rid of either of them.
No,
I get rid of the quarterback.
Yeah, especially if DTR takes you to the freaking.
No, I mean, this is a conversation that no one wants to have, but I've been saying it since we took Deshaun Watson. We can be in the situation the Chiefs are in very quickly, where if you watch that game, Patrick Mahomes looks frustrated as hell.
Right.
And he's got receivers who can't catch the ball. He's got
the most drops in the league.
Yeah, he's got, like, their offense looks bad. I think Zagura had a stat today, like total yards or something like that. He said like 225 and 230. And he's like, what 2 teams do you think that is? Average total yards or whatever that we get. And he's like, one's the Cleveland Browns and one's the freaking Chiefs.
Wow.
So, like, I forget, it might not have been that exactly, but it's something like total yards or something.
Like average total yards?
Yeah, total yards for the year. And when he said that, I'm like, holy crap. Right. Like, we could be there very quickly. And then that means you're going to probably lose Delpit. Eventually, Za'Darius. I mean, we got Obo for another season. But
2 more seasons, I think.
You're going to have to re-sign Newsome, Emerson. I mean, Emerson's playing at a Pro Bowl level right now.
He's 3 years out. Or no, 2 years
He's 2 years out.
Yeah.
No,
he was last year.
Right.
Last year he was a rookie.
When was he drafted?
3rd round. So he gets 4 years.
I think it's 3.
Well, yeah, you're going to have to make some. I mean, the team, we have a small window here. And it sucks because we're not going to have Chubb and we're not going to have Deshaun. So our window will close probably pretty quick.
So let me ask you a question. Everyone gives Deshaun credit for 5 wins. He started the Indy game and was out in the 2 series. So I call it he's 4-2 as a starter for the Browns this season.
Where's the other loss?
He lost to.
Baltimore.
No, he lost to.
Seattle. No,
He lost to Pittsburgh. And
that's it.
okay, okay, so
4-1.
4-1. Okay, so he's 4-1 as a starter, and I mean, really, if you're honest with it and you don't have the bullshit Deshaun Watson fan lenses on, I haven't really noticed much difference in our offense with him or without him. I mean, yeah, he's made a couple plays here and there. I can't take that away. But I saw PJ Walker do that too. I just saw DTR do it.
I completely agree with you.
So
it's not been a big difference.
we're gonna sacrifice the rest of our team for a guy who's not even playing right now.
The problem is that what you are gonna give up to retain him, he's not making up. Like Mahomes has the ability a little bit to make some of that up, but even you're seeing like when he's playing against good teams like the Eagles last night, he can't. I mean, that last play of the game, or not the last play of the game, but the 4th and 20 or whatever it was.
4th and 25.
Hit the dude in the hands. I mean, and that was not an easy catch to make, but it was not
Beautiful pass.
Right, like
it wasn't an easy catch. It hit him right here.
Yeah.
Like I'm bitching at Njoku for dropping a ball over his head. This guy, it hit him in the hands, in the chest.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have more faith in Mahomes to make up that difference than I would with Deshaun 1,010%. Like that is something that it's almost unavoidable because, I mean, who else? You've said it plenty. You can't trade the guy. No one's going to take on that contract.
So cut him.
Then you're going to have a dead cap here where you're going to still lose those guys. You know, you're still going to have a dead cap here of like $63 million that you can't retain those guys. Right now, they got to, I don't know how they do it. I wish that you could keep this core together, but what is important is that after this year, we get our draft picks back in the first round. Now you have, like, these picks that we're going to get in the next 2 or 3 years have to be hits. You, I think, have to find a way to keep Jim Schwartz because now you have to develop talent as well. We've developed this core, and this core looks really good, and they're going to get paid as such and go elsewhere. But it's like when you used to play Madden. You would always draft these guys, develop them. Once they got to a certain age, you would, bring in the next wave and just continuously do that. That's something that you have to put into practice now. You have to have good talent evaluation, and you have to have a good stable of coaches that can develop talent. Because if you want to be a team who has got a $230 million quarterback and still be successful, you have to continuously be acquiring new talent and developing them into the players that are.
So how long is it going to take for the NFL owners or whatever to realize that we can't pay our quarterback $60 million a year because our teams, like, I mean, if you think about it, so you got Mahomes. Who signed the big deals this year? Burrow's out. Herbert sucks.
Lamar.
Their team sucks. The Ravens, okay, they just paid him. Yep. So, I mean, I guess you could count him. But if they don't,
Herbert sucks.
Well, everyone says wins and losses is a quarterback stat.
Right.
All I can go by is his win-loss record.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't suck. I'd take him right now, but not with that freaking coach.
No.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you got Herbert, Burrow's out. Burrow just got paid the most of anybody, I think. Now, they got some hard decisions to make too. Yep. So what's their team going to look like? You know what I mean? Yep. Like, you pay these guys, and then your team's going to take a hit. And it's showing now with Kansas City. Like last year, their offense didn't look great last year, but they won the Super Bowl because guys didn't drop balls. But I don't know. I just look at it as like, I would much rather pay my quarterback $25-30 million and have, or maybe these quarterbacks need to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'd rather win Super Bowls than make $200 million guaranteed or $190 million guaranteed on a $200 million contract. So my team can sign players like what Brady did.
Yeah.
So my team can sign players and we can freaking continue winning.
Well, the salary cap will continue to go up. And as that happens, the quarterback salaries will continue to go up. I don't think that's ever going to change. The only thing is that...
You know what's going to change that? If San Francisco wins the Super Bowl this year.
Maybe.
Because
he's making $900,000.
Exactly. And then they can afford to get Chase Young, and they can afford to retain Joey Bosa, and they can pay Fred Warner, and they can keep that defense together. That's the blueprint.
That will be the blueprint going forward. It'll be a paradigm shift. You won't be thinking, "Oh, we have to have these expensive quarterbacks to win."
I think it's starting right now.
Yeah, there will be quarterbacks that still get that money, but those won't be the teams that you'll think are successful. It will be the teams that have a great all-around cast. Then you have a quarterback who can do their thing and get you there. But eventually, Brock Purdy will get if he plays like this for the rest of his contract, he'll eventually make $40 million.
Not with the 49ers, he won't.
Not with the 49ers. He'll probably be on another team. And then they'll draft another kid and do the same thing over again.
Well, I'm it's sad to say it, but like if it's starting for us next season where we're going to lose good quality players and we can't retain our core, like I would say Delpit's a core player right now. The middle, you got Miles, you got freaking Tomlinson. You got to keep those two guys. You got JOK in the middle, you got to keep him. And you got Delpit in the back end. And then you got your two. If you pay Emerson, then you got your two corners. I mean, I don't want to lose. I like that freaking Newsom. I like him. He's got an attitude. I love him. But
I love all of our players.
But you're not going to be able to pay three corners top dollar.
Nope.
So you're going to lose Emerson or him. I'd rather lose him over Emerson as a player.
Right.
And when that starts to happen, I suppose you can draft another guy and keep that going, but what's the likelihood of that happening?
And the question is once you start, it's kind of like what the Seahawks have been doing. They drafted Devin Witherspoon, and everyone was like, well, why did they draft him number 5 over like Christian Gonzalez and stuff like that? But he fit their program and what they do so well, and they helped, like, he was perfect for what they wanted as a corner, and I think continue to develop him into what they want. I think that, like, Emerson coming out, like, he did look good pretty early on, but he went in the 3rd round. He got passed over tons of different times. If you figure out what you want your cornerbacks to be, find that in the talent evaluation, the scouting, and then can develop those corners. I think it's so much more, for me, I think it's so much more finding the people that you like who mesh what you want to do and then developing them into what you want. I think that the Patriots did it forever on defense. I think that is the formula to having a good, successful run, is to not only find great talent, but also develop it. And it's going to suck because we're going to see players that we like. Like, if we're going to do that and be good, it's going to suck because we're going to see players that we like go elsewhere. But, I mean, that's how that's how the Steelers, the Patriots, all the best teams do it. So.
Who?
The Patriots, the Steelers.
How they look?
I mean, right now they don't look the greatest, but for years they were.
Now, see, I can argue the only thing holding them back is the quarterback.
Yeah. Agreed.
So that just defeats everything that I've been saying.
Yeah, but we're talking about having an average quarterback play, not below average.
So do you think if you had who would be your prototypical average quarterback in your mind right now?
Well, Not right now. He's like I would say the perfect average quarterback was um, Kirk Cousins for a long time. I think he's above average now.
He's making $40 million a year.
I know. All of them are.
But he's been making $40 million a year forever as an average quarterback. Well, if he's your average quarterback making $40 million a year, it still screws you.
Have you looked at this? Like Jimmy Garoppolo, do you know what he signed for?
Like 15? No, I have no idea.
I don't either. But I remember his contract with San Francisco was like 3 years, 127 million, and that's 30 million. I mean, what is that? That's
127 million? That's 40 million a year.
So that's what average quarterbacks get you nowadays is 40 million. That's crazy. Like they were talking about, oh, we'll sign Baker back in the day, but it'll have to be 30 million, and that wasn't good enough. So I feel like it's not something that you can go into trying to negotiate with a quarterback. Like, would you say Jimmy Garoppolo is an average quarterback?
On the Niners, any other team, no, not even close.
Yeah, well,
see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter what your quarterback is if your team is damn good. Like, if you've got the Niners and you pluck a guy out the last pick of the draft and put him in and he looks better than your supposed average quarterback, like, granted, that's just pure luck. Tom Brady being Tom Brady was pure luck.
So Garoppolo signed a 3-year, $67 million. That would put him at $23 million a year.
Right.
That's doable, I suppose. But I mean,
well, just think that would give you 40-some million to play with next year.
Right.
But I don't want Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
I'd rather have Baker Mayfield. Or many other quarterbacks over Jimmy Garoppolo. I'd rather have Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I'd rather have, well, of course, the big ones. Yeah. But I'm not paying them that. Like, I think that's a horrible way to operate our franchise, personally.
To have a high-paid quarterback.
I mean, we just won a game with a 5th-round rookie that we didn't even let him go downfield.
Right.
So, like, if you have a defense that's good, I mean, granted, you're not going to win every game because you're going to get screwed sometimes, but I'd take my chances. Like, I mean, the Steelers had Roethlisberger, and I would say at his best, he was a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
He was never the best quarterback, but
he was a damn good quarterback.
He was damn good, but he played on a team. I think any place else, he's out of the league in 7 years.
I don't know. He was pretty good.
Yeah, but dude.
Like, if you put him on the Chargers, flipped him and Phillip Rivers, I think it'd look almost exactly the same.
Yeah, but that's still a good team.
Yeah, but
you put him on the Browns, he's hurt. Yeah. Like, that's my point. Once the culture's changed in our organization, I mean, the Steelers are winning with Kenny freaking Pickett.
Right.
He's ass.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it twice now. He is ass, and everybody knows it. The Steelers even freaking know it. And they're still winning games. Now, he's ass. I would put him as a bottom 5 quarterback. He's below Daniel Dimes, or whatever his name is. Daniel Jones. Yep. He's below him. He's way below the top guys. So, like, I mean, you give me Danny Dimes on this team right now. I'll take him. And I think, I mean, Jesus Christ, he took the Giants to the playoffs last year. Yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. Maybe not like Ryan Tannehill. I never thought he was any good anyways. But, like, I don't know.
There's not a lot of average quarterbacks. It's either they're considered really good and are paid accordingly, or they're not that good.
That's the league, though.
Yeah.
If you sat all 32 GMs down and listed the quarterbacks in order of and if they had to come to a consensus, who's number one? Consensus 2, 3, 4, all the way to the 32 teams. There's people starting on teams right now that backups are playing who people might take ahead of them.
So what you're saying is teams like the Eagles here, who just paid Jalen Hurts, are going to have to take a step back here soon too.
It ain't. Well, what'd they pay him?
$230 million or something like that.
Well, whatever his eventually you're gonna pay the piper eventually. Like, you're not gonna be able to pay. You're gonna have your safeties.
$255 million.
Okay, so your safeties are gonna end up making like $5 million a year. Your linebackers are gonna maybe make $7 million a year. Like, you're and they better be damn good or you're screwed.
Right.
Like, it's coming. They just paid him,
right?
So it hasn't hit him yet. But their window is now starting to close.
Yeah, because he's averaging $51 million a year, which right now that's basically a fifth of the salary cap.
Right. So you got all that rolled into one guy.
Right.
So like AJ Brown, he won't be back when his contract's over. He's gone. He might be gone before that.
They're probably actually going to have to. Devontae Smith's contract's going to be coming up.
Well, they're going to have to decide.
And then you got all those defenders.
Yep.
Darius Slay.
Dallas Goedert.
Yep.
Yeah, you got all these guys. Your offensive line.
Yeah.
How good's Jalen Hurts going to look behind freaking Chicago's line?
Right.
Like, because that's what you're going to end up with.
Right.
Now, see, the line to me isn't as big a deal because I have Callahan.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't want to lose DeJuan Jones. He looks like a freaking stud. I don't want to lose my guards, but I'm not paying a center high money.
Did Ethan Posick go and sign a 1 year too? Yeah.
Well, no, he might. I don't know. But I'm not going to pay him. I'll let him walk, and I'll put Nick Harris in there.
Right.
Like, my left tackle, I'm not paying him. Like, not high left tackle money. That's just, they're going to have to figure it out. I mean, the Chiefs lost Orlando Brown Jr. or whatever his name was. He plays for the Ravens now, doesn't he?
Cincy.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. The window was open last year. Our Super Bowl window opened last year. And Grandma's slowly closing it. Every year it gets a little lower and a little lower. And eventually it's going to close and we're going to be screwed.
Yep.
But maybe. Because if after 5 years, Watson, we haven't won a Super Bowl, do you really want to keep him?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess it all depends on how he plays when he's like. I just want him to have a full season to see exactly what he is.
It might never happen, man.
It may not, and that would be terrible, because then you're basically paying for nothing.
Exactly.
And that's the other scary part about paying someone that much money, because since he's doing that with Burrow right now.
Yeah, how do you think Paul Brown feels right now?
Right.
Paid him all that money. Their season's over. Like, they're done.
Since he's done, the Browns are done. I mean, not done, but they definitely have gotten their work cut out for them now. I mean, the Jets season basically ended in 4 plays.
Right.
So tying that much into one asset, when you talk about asset management, that's never a good idea, is to put so much into one thing. And so it'll be interesting to see how the league goes going forward with that mindset. Because...
Well, I think this is what I said all of that to say this. Eagles defense kept Patrick Mahomes in check last night. Browns defense has been doing it to everybody all year. The Chiefs defense looked like freaking world beaters last night. Mm-hmm. The Chargers defense, if you actually had a good coach in there, on paper, should look like the Browns. The Niners defense is really good and keeps people in check.
Cowboys.
And the Cowboys. Right there is 8 teams if all 8 of those teams, well, take the Chargers out of the mix, but those 8 teams have playoff, and the Ravens defense is really good. The Steelers defense is really, so let's go back up to 10. Yep. If you put an average quarterback on the Steelers right now, let's say Dobbs played for the Steelers right now, and I'd say he's average, playing average right now.
Yeah, he's playing average right now.
But like Jacoby last year, in my opinion, played above average.
Yes.
So if you took that performance and melded it with that defense, you're a perennial playoff team with a pretty damn good chance to make the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And that's all you can ask for. And I'd take it. I'd take it right now. You give me Jacoby Brissett playing the way he did last year, we're winning the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I don't have a doubt in my mind.
Nope.
But, and honestly, I think DTR can do that.
I do too.
Because DTR can move. I saw it. He's actually pretty damn quick.
He's got a much better arm than Jacoby.
Yeah, and I don't know why we couldn't do that. Why can't we make the Super Bowl, or at least make a good deep run this year? Deshaun comes back next year and looks like 90% of the Houston Deshaun, and then we're off. I'll take 3 Super Bowls appearances with a win.
Yeah.
To have to blow it all up and start all over again if my coaches are the 2 guys I have right now.
Yeah, I would totally do that, because then you can just keep doing it.
Right.
And that's like I said, that's what the best organizations do. That's what the Indians do, or the Guardians do. They are a farm system. They continuously create good players. They get picked off and go to the Yankees, and then you just do it over again. That's why talent evaluation and developing your players is so important. I feel like now we have the guys to do it.
I do too.
Especially defensively. I think that Stefanski may have had some of that beforehand, but I don't think Joe Woods ever really did that. I think Jim Schwartz, you can put an average defender in.
So how much would you pay Jim Schwartz to keep him here?
Whatever Stefanski's making. Honestly, I would equal it out, because I think Stefanski doesn't even look like he might go into the defensive meeting rooms, but I think we have 2 head coaches right now. I really do. Which is scary, because he's probably going to get a head coaching offer.
I don't know, man. I don't know. If you look at the league right now, the way it is, and I know we're not talking about Denver.
I know.
But I don't give a shit. When you said they don't stand a snowball's chance, what are you going to say? So, okay, so Staley in Chicago, or
I feel like this is going to be a longer podcast.
no, we can wrap it up here.
No, I am enjoying it. I like talking.
So you got Staley in L.A. with the Chargers. You got LaFleur, or whatever his name is, in Chicago.
Oh, Eberflus?
Eberflus. He's a defensive guy.
LaFleur's in Green Bay.
Yeah, you got there's 2 other defensive guys who are kind of Ron Rivera, and who else? Oh, Bill Belichick. They're all on the hot seat right now.
D'Amico Ryans is a defensive coach.
Yeah, you're right.
You're just talking about the ones that are on the hot seat.
The ones on the hot seat. They're all 4 defensive guys. And the mode right now is young offensive mind.
It has been since McVay. Or honestly, Shanahan.
Right. Yeah, he's the start of it. So you take those, and people are talking about Salah for the Jets being on the hot seat.
That is ridiculous. If he is, he'll get scooped up immediately.
I was going to say, because that guy...
I don't get that at all. And I've heard that too. I think Salah is an incredible coach. And it just so happens that he's getting screwed by the Jets. And the Jets, I feel like, have just as bad luck as the Browns, if not worse.
No.
Maybe not worse, but man, they just can't seem to get a handout or anything. Like, I honestly thought with Aaron Rodgers that team was going to be a playoff team.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
That should be pretty well known, but evidently it's not. When you are in position to draft a quarterback, don't overthink it. Look, ask Carolina now.
Yeah.
Like, you watch the college games, you do all your film study and all of this. Don't make it harder than it has to be. You go into the draft, and you're going to draft a quarterback. You take the best quarterback that's there. And
or the one if you think it's close, take the quarterback that fits your scheme the best.
Right.
Because I feel like a lot of people don't draft for scheme, and when it comes to quarterback, like
well, it's hard to do that
us,
when you're going through coaches every 2 or 3 years.
That's fair. Because like with us drafting
Baker,
he might not have been the best quarterback out there. I think you could say he was up there with anybody when the talent evaluation was going on, but he fit the culture and what we were trying to do perfectly. And so when you feel like it's tied, I feel like then you have to turn your attention to that. Like for me, I would have never drafted Bryce Young ever, just because how I want to play, he doesn't match that at all. Jalen Hurts does. They're like the running quarterback thing for me. I've never really been a big running quarterback guy, but Jalen Hurts is a different kind of running quarterback. He's bigger. He can take those hits, and he's basically like big ass running back that can also throw the ball incredibly well. So,
see, I don't agree with you there. He's not like a big ass running back. He just so happens to be a quarterback who can run.
Right.
Lamar Jackson is a running back who just so happens can throw the ball. That's the difference. Trevor Lawrence is a quarterback who can run.
Yes, I agree with that.
Like, it's different. Jalen Hurts.
I meant more so body type. If you're looking at Jalen Hurts and you saw him, you could easily see him as a running back.
Oh, his legs are freaking as big as my whole body.
I didn't mean to take away and make him seem like he's not a quarterback, because he definitely is. But like when I look at his body type, it's like, oh, that guy looks a lot.
That guy's a football player.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like he's not tall enough, but maybe he is, but he kind of looks like a linebacker.
Yeah.
And whereas I think that the body type of Lamar is more so a wide receiver.
Right.
He doesn't really have the body of a running back either.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. It does interest me talking about, like, because I love playing GM and everything. And so thinking about how we're going to manage the salary going forward is very interesting. The Deshaun thing is going to be a huge hurdle to overcome, because if you're investing that much into that asset, you have to have the return. And if we don't have that return, then I don't know what they do, because
you hope to God DTR is good.
Yeah, but then you're still losing. Like, you're just going to have $63 million chilling there.
Oh, no, he'll play. He's going to play.
Deshaun.
Yeah. And if that's the case, let's just say, for argument's sake, that Deshaun never gets back to being Deshaun. He's at best, what we've seen so far. And I'm not talking about the bad. I'm talking about the good games, the good halves that he's had. If that's the best, if that's his ceiling now.
I don't think it is, but yeah. Well, for argument's sake.
This is for argument's sake. If that's his ceiling, if we can keep this defense together, that's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If his ceiling is half of that, because one half he plays like ass and the second half he plays like 90% of what he used to be, or 80% of what he used to be, then that's bad. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to say it with it and make it sound right, but he just, I don't know.
I'm trying to see Deshaun Watson's contract breakdown. Here we go. Because he's making, right now, his base salary is $1 million.
Can't be.
This is what it says. So his base salary is $1 million. Oh, his cap hits $19 million. So this is what matters. His cap hit, what the hell is that? Oh, if they cut him, that's how much it would be. Look at that.
220,000?
220 million.
Oh.
Right.
Well,
so
that's what they owe him. Yeah.
So you can't cut him.
Yeah.
So going forward, he's at $20 million now. So basically, going forward, he's going to have a $44 million difference for the next 3 years compared to what he is
What's
now.
his hit next year?
Well, that's what it is next year. It's $63 million.
Yeah.
It's going from 19 to 63, so like $44 million more.
What is it the year after? 63 million?
Yeah, 63 throughout. And then 2027, he's got a dead cap hit of $8 million.
Well, that's 4 years from now.
Yeah. He'll be an unrestricted free agent after 2027. So that's $44 million. So basically, that's Joel Bitonio, Nick Chubb, Wyatt Teller, and no, let's not do that. That's Joel Bitonio, Nick Chubb, and Amari Cooper's contract altogether.
Right.
So that's the difference. So
Wait, what are they paying? What are they paying Bitonio?
13. So it'd be 13 plus 12.
12. That's
So
25.
Plus 20, which would be 45, which would be
Okay.
basically the same. So basically, every year you're gonna have to lose. Like that's the talent that you could potentially lose for that. So you'd have to figure out. That would obviously be spread out in different areas, but that's a lot of talent to lose.
Yeah.
That's a lot, and especially for our team.
Yeah, but no, that's every team with one of those quarterbacks has the same problem.
Like the Eagles, that's
why they're talking about Chicago moving off of Fields, because it resets the clock. So let's just say they take Caleb Williams, number 1. They take him number 1. They got him for 5 years. They got Justin Fields for 2 more.
Right.
So after 2 years, they're going to have to re-sign him. If he ends up being great, they'd have to re-sign him for $220. Right. So their window was open the day they drafted him, and it just keeps closing. So once they gets to that point where they have to sign him for $220 or whatever, the window's still closed because you can't sign talent then.
So basically, your quarterback, if they play well on their rookie contract, you basically just have to go and draft another one and hope you hit again. Because if not, then you can't keep your team.
Well, together. No, I think what people are doing is okay, so this year I have the first overall pick. I don't know the college quarterbacks, so I take Caleb Williams. Mm-hmm. CJ Stroud is perfect. Perfect example. New coach, new quarterback. They get him second. So they draft him. They have him for 5 under contract on the rookie deal for 5 years. Right. I think he makes $10 million a year.
Yep.
So from here on out, they can load up their freaking team because they know that guy's the guy. I know he's the guy.
Yep.
And I got him for $10 million. So now you take that's $53 million, and you spread it to Garrett. Now I take Caleb Williams and put him smack dab. CJ Stroud. Put him smack dab on the Browns team right now.
Yep.
What the fuck? And you can have that for 5 years. That's what people want to do.
But if you're good, say you're in year 5 of CJ Stroud, Houston's good. They're in the playoffs every year. When his contract's up, you can't move off from him because you're not going to be able to draft that high up again.
Right.
So you're going to be, say they're in the AFC Championship game, you're drafting at least 27 or something like that.
Well, no, but what you hope, by the time he hits 5, you re-sign him for $220, and you have the situation that the Bengals were in this year, where you re-signed Burrow, and you still had all your offensive talent. So he carries... Okay, so then next year you say you lose Higgins because you can't afford him. And you might lose a defender because you can't afford him. Let's say you lose your end. So you go out and you sign Obo for $8 million or whatever we signed him for a year. Put him on your team across from Myles Garrett, your stud. You just have an addict, which is what we've been doing with our defense forever. Is we had Myles Garrett, so we signed Olivier Vernon. And then Jadeveon Clowney. to a lower contract, 1-year deals. That's how you keep your talent.
Or what you do is the first year you front load the quarterback contract. You give him $220 million right off the bat. Pay everybody else veteran minimum, and then
So you lose your whole team.
No, you say, all right.
Well, you're not going to keep Miles and
you're
Ward and everybody else.
$900,000 this year, but the rest of it you're going to make $40 million each year, and do it that way.
Which is what they do.
I know, but
they do it opposite.
Right.
They give them $1 million to start with and backload everything.
Right.
So they can keep kicking the can down the road.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be
different. I don't know, but we're going to see. And I'm going to say it like this. As long as I have a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because I watched the Steelers win one and go to one with Ben Roethlisberger. So there's never going to be another Tom Brady. Everyone can say what they want about Patrick Mahomes, but it's never going to be like that ever again. No. It just isn't.
Well, not only that, Brady was in a perfect spot because he didn't have to, none of these guys have to ask for that much money. He definitely did. And I always didn't like Brady because he did that, because it's kind of like cheating, in my opinion.
Why?
We've talked about this before. I feel like if everybody else in the league, it's not cheating per se, but it's a huge loophole to make your team better.
It's not. It's not. See, oh my God, I completely disagree with you.
I know. This always pisses you off.
That would be like me saying, okay, I've got 5 dudes, and I'm gonna start a tree company. And I got 5 dudes. So if I pay, you're the best tree climber in the world, and I can pay you $50 an hour, and I got 3 other tree climbers below you that aren't as good as you, but they're pretty good. But I can only pay them $20 an hour. And they're like, well, I can go work for this guy for $40 an hour. And I say, okay, see ya. And then I got to go to the homeless shelter and hire some cracked out dude. And maybe I can pay him $10 an hour, but I need 17 of those fucking guys.
Right. And then I could be like, all right, I don't need to make $50 an hour. I can make...
No, you can make $50 an hour for 8 hours, or you can make $50 an hour plus overtime and work 100 hours a week, because that's what I need you to do now. Instead of working 40 and making damn good money, now you're going to make great money.
Right.
But you're going to work 120 hours a week. Because that's what I need you to do to make me money.
Right. So
I look at it, if I'm Patrick Mahomes, the last thing I do, any of these guys, I'm Patrick freaking Mahomes. I'm the best quarterback in the league. And I'm not even arguing that. He is, by far, the best quarterback in the league. I don't need to make $250 million, which I think he was making $500 was his contract.
Yeah, it was over 13 years.
Okay. No, it was $50 million a year is what he signed for.
Right.
So I don't need to make $50 million a year. You pay me 25, and you guarantee me that you're going to get me talent. Sign Tyreek Hill. I mean, you don't pay him $50 million or whatever, but give that dude $30 million.
Yeah, and that's what I got.
All right, give him 30. We need him.
Yep.
Give him 30 for 3 years. Just do it.
Well, that's what Brady did, and
exactly
that's the thing that no one else does, and that's why I was saying it's almost not fair, because he is the only one that really did that, and it was an advantage to his organization. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The reason why I disliked it is because he was the one that did it, and it translated so well, and he wasn't brown.
No, but could you imagine Miles or Deshaun saying, you know what? When his contract, let's say he gets back to Deshaun, his contract's up, and he's like, you know what? I appreciate you guys backing me, running through all this bullshit that I've brought to this franchise, and all the struggles and heartaches. Now, you pay me $20 million a year, guarantee me $100 million. 20 years for 5 years guaranteed. You guarantee me that. and put it in my contract that I can walk anytime I want. As long as you can keep Miles and this guy and this guy and this guy. Keep that defense the way it is. Maybe add some better players here or there. But that's what I want. I don't need $100 million a year.
Right. Well, that's the thing is we got to get to that because we still got 3 more years of that 63 hit. So what you're going to end up having is you're going to have to restructure Miles again. But you can't keep restructuring because eventually his cap hit's going to be like $40 million a year. And it's just going to be impossible. Like
No. What needs to happen is you need to win the Super Bowl. And then you're just going to have to, like, as fans, I get it. Like, I understand what's happening. And I'm willing to lose pieces. But we better have a fucking Super Bowl win.
Right. The thing is those pieces, like on offense, we can't lose that many pieces. Like if we lose Cooper, our pass game's toast. Really, because you can just double Njoku, and what are you gonna do? On defense, I feel like is where we're gonna lose pieces, which is gonna suck because that means that this is a 1-year sort of deal, unless the product that we're seeing is influenced that much by just Jim Schwartz having Miles in that defensive line. For me personally, I love our corners, but we got young guys. We've got Mitchell, who I feel like can step in, and I feel like that's why they drafted him, is to replace Newsome when he goes. I think Emerson is a really hard one to reenact because he's so big and physical. But if it was me, I would not want to. You're not really paying anybody in the box. JOK might require some money eventually, but I would try and keep that defensive line intact because I feel like that's what's really causing a lot of this. I would try my investment defensively would continue to be on the line in Ward.
But see, I think you can get away with. You don't need. Okay, what Shelby Harris? What do you think he's making? $3 million?
Yeah.
$4 million?
It's not. I think it's 5.
And he's playing great.
Mm-hmm.
Mo
making nothing.
You can find guys. That's been our problem. We haven't found the guys.
Well, maybe that'll change with Schwartz.
Oh, that's where I was going with this. Is like, you have to keep. There's certain people you've got to keep. You have to keep Miles.
Yeah, I mean, that's not. He's gonna.
You have to keep Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
And you've got to keep freaking, in my opinion, the play he's playing right now, Delpit. You've got to keep him. Those 3 guys you have to keep.
So that means Z is done this year afterwards.
Well, he's only got a 1-year deal anyway.
Right.
But
Obo.
Obo stepping. But who's to say that he's like, you know what? I really like freaking playing here. Everybody's cool as hell. Love the coach. Give me $10 million. Give me $8 million.
Yeah.
Another 1-year deal. Give me $8 million this year.
Well,
because he's gotten paid a couple times.
And the thing is Z seems to be the dude that would do such a thing. But I don't know that a lot of people would be like that. But if you build that culture, I mean, it just sucks that it would suck to be Za'Darius and be like, yo, I'm out. He doesn't have the sacks or the toes or anything, but I'm out here playing my ass off, doing great stuff, being a big contributing factor to this team and this defense, the reason why we're winning, and then look over at Deshaun on the sideline hurt, be like, that guy's making $63 million. Like, that, I feel like eventually with how professional athletes' minds work would.
Well, that's how I think, and I'm no professional athlete.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how that will go over.
Like, I've had that conversation with my boss many times. You're telling me this guy makes this much money? I do 10 times what that fucking clown does.
Right.
Give me my money or I'm walking. That's just the way it is.
Right.
But, like, I don't know.
All right. Well, let's wrap up the Denver game, and because we're almost at 2 hours here.
Yeah, let's get her done.
All right. So I think that I really am not incredibly worried about this game. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. And you said it was at 4.
4:05.
So it's a little bit of a later game. The elevation is going to be interesting to see how the team deals with that. Yeah.
How the hell did he get out here?
I don't know. But we're chilling with the dogs right now. Cooper came out to see what's up with the podcast.
He's like, it's been too long, guys.
Yeah. But if you had to give a score on this game, what do you think it would be?
Well, according to you, it's going to be 42-0.
Nah, I don't see that exactly.
I would say I'm just going to stick with what they did last week. I'll say 20-13.
See, I see it being 23-10. I think we win this game relatively handily, to be honest. Now, knock on wood, hopefully it goes that way. It could be that, Broncos are better than I think they are, but I don't think they are.
Well, good. I hope we win. That's all I care about. If we win 3-0, I'm going to be happy.
Yep. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us for Chilling with the Dogs this week. As always, I'll, say we would love to hear from you guys. If you guys want to leave us some comments on the YouTube video or give us a rating on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, it'd be greatly appreciated. This podcast was a little bit different, but
I wanted to try something different.
No, but I enjoyed it a lot. So let us know what you guys think. Have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
And we'll see you on the next one. Peace. You're listening to the Chillin' with the Dogs podcast, where we talk sports, mostly football, and a lot about the Browns. Our episodes drop Friday mornings. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. The more we hear from you guys, the better our podcast can be. All right, now let's get into it.